So this video is going to be one of my most important videos I've ever made because I'm going to detail why Disney's movies have seemingly continued to lose more and more money year after year. Yet, as a company, their profits have somehow gone up year after year. And so yes, even though we see numerous videos and articles about how Disney is failing as a company that is only with their movies, and I think in this video I'm going to be able to get to the truth and the reality of why their movies haven't been resonating with fans and why sadly they don't seem to care. And in order to get my point across, I'm going to break this video down into two parts, with part 1 being how and why they're losing so much money with their movies, and part 2 being why that doesn't matter, because we all know by now that Disney is facing numerous issues when it comes to a movie like Snow White, for many people online literally saying that they will boycott the movie due to not liking what the lead actress Rachel Zegler has said to multiple reshoot to, of course, the divisive response to their various iterations of the dwarves.
It's a bad thing. I'm not agreeing with it. One, because what they're doing is pretty much you're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs.
Now they are facing another massive hurdle, which is the insanely high budget, because it's now being reported at over $330 million, which places Snow White as the most expensive Disney movie ever made outside of their franchises. So of all the Disney standalone movies, this is their most expensive, and even with franchises, it's their second most expensive movie ever made, only being topped by Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. And so this does make sense when you take into account the original budget was in the mid to 200 millions. Then of course they've done multiple reshoot and delays. But then we also see that for a similar live-action movie in The Little Mermaid, they spent an extra $140 million just on marketing expenses. And so when it comes to something like Snow White, which has a higher budget than The Little Mermaid and has so much more negative press, they will definitely be spending much bigger on their marketing. And so I don't think it would be out of the realm of possibility for the marketing spend on Snow White to be upwards of $200 million. And given that theaters take about half the money, we are potentially looking at a Snow White movie that will need to potentially cross $1 billion just to break even. And to put that in context, nearly $569 million was made by The Little Mermaid. With all the negative publicity that Snow White has received in the last year or so, it seems a tall order for this movie to cross $1 billion. When I first saw these figures, I wondered what on earth Disney was thinking, because Snow White could have had easy marketing and everything and still not made a profit on this film. Cinderella only made $542 million, and freaking Oppenheimer couldn't even cross $1 billion, and that had one of the biggest marketing schemes Hollywood has ever seen. Given how big the budget is, I mean, look at Cinderella. That movie's marketing campaign went swimmingly, and the movie was an all-round success in terms of audience and critic reviews, and it still barely got halfway to $1 billion. And so yes, this is Snow White we're talking about, so it does potentially have a bigger potential, but it's still a remake. And if we've learned anything as an audience, it's that live-action remakes do struggle to capture the quote-unquote Disney magic that we find in the original cartoons. And so it made me question, why does a company like Disney not only greenlight a project like this, but also give it such a ludicrous budget? And I think the answer to this question may just be the answer to every single question that we've had about Disney lately, and may just answer why their movies haven't resonated with fans nearly as much. And that's because the answer has absolutely nothing to do with movies and everything to do with theme parks and merchandise. And so they spend a measly $500 million on movies, but through box office, plus merchandise, plus rides, and various experiences in their parks, they end up making back 2 to 3 times that $500 million just through Snow White marketing, which is why Disney movies have made less and less money year by year. But Disney's quarterly profit continues to grow. Yes, Disney's profit was more in 2023 than it was in 2019, even though they didn't have a single movie be anywhere near the level of things like Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man Far From Home, yet they were still able to make more money. But this is why their latest movies have failed to impress, and why it seems they are so concerned with everything but the actual story they're telling, because as much as Disney seems like a movie studio, they are no longer a storytelling company, and that's becoming very obvious as of late, as they've taken movies, which were once a storytelling medium, and they've turned their movies into a marketing medium to market their experiences and their various products. And while it has certainly damaged the storytelling, it has actually worked out very well for them in terms of money being made elsewhere, because even though less and less people are watching their movies, the attendance numbers at Disneyland resorts across the world have not dropped at all. In fact, they are virtually the same today as they were in 2018 and 2019. So yes, even with the company being vocal on various political issues and therefore dividing their very own audience in half, it seems both halves are still willing to attend Disneyland, and the stats back that up, because as I've shown you, even with a divided audience, even with millions of people online saying that they're boycotting Disney products, saying that they don't watch Disney movies, and that the company have completely fallen off.
Your problem with Disney?
Well, right now with everything. I thought, as a parent, I had kids that I would be able to put in front of the television watching a Disney movie while I was doing some work or while I was doing something else. And I thought, they're perfectly safe with Disney movies. Come to find out, they're not safe.
I think that sexual content and gender content should be not taught to children.
Absolutely not. I was a sex crimes detective.
The reality is that Disney, despite facing backlash and calls for boycotts, still manages to generate significant revenue. Their financial resilience shows that a substantial number of people continue to support the company, directly or indirectly, no matter how much controversy swirls around them. This dynamic becomes especially relevant in the context of the upcoming Snow White film. Regardless of the vocal opposition from certain audiences who have been targeting Rachel Zegler online and threatening to boycott the movie, Disney is positioned to turn a profit. They are keenly aware of this, understanding that the outcry often does not translate to a substantial impact on their bottom line. However, as a movie enthusiast who cares more about the art of storytelling than Disney's financial health, it's important for the company to recognize that they are, first and foremost, a storytelling entity. Their legacy is built on creating stories that resonate across generations and cultures, not merely on balancing their financial statements. Disney owes it to the fans, those who have grown up with their stories and who have supported their ventures throughout the years, to deliver quality entertainment. The magic of Disney has always been in its ability to bring people together, to create a sense of shared wonder and joy. But in recent years, this magic seems to be fading. Movies have an extraordinary ability to unite people. They serve as a universal language that transcends differences in opinion and background. When done right, a film can bring together audiences from all walks of life, allowing them to sit side by side in a theater and bond over 2 hours of captivating storytelling. This is the essence of what Disney used to represent. Their movies were once synonymous with high-quality, inclusive entertainment that provided a sense of communal experience. However, it feels like this spirit has been lost in recent times, replaced by a focus on catering to market trends and maximizing profits. In pursuing financial success, Disney seems to be neglecting the very principles that made it a beloved institution. The growing division among audiences over Disney's recent output reflects a deeper issue. When a company like Disney, which has long been seen as a beacon of inclusive storytelling, starts creating content that fragments its audience, it contributes to the broader social and cultural divide. Movies that once brought people together now seem to be pushing them apart. It's not just about financial success, it's about the cultural impact. When Disney creates content that alienates segments of its audience, it inadvertently widens the gap between different groups. This goes against what movies, especially Disney movies, have historically stood for, bringing people together through shared experiences and narratives that resonate on a universal level. The current state of affairs leaves many fans and movie lovers yearning for a return to the Disney of old, a Disney that prioritized story, magic, and a sense of wonder. In this sense, the debate around Snow White and the backlash faced by Rachel Zegler is just a symptom of a larger issue. It points to a need for Disney to refocus on its core mission, to create stories that unite rather than divide. They have a unique opportunity and responsibility to craft narratives that can bridge gaps, foster understanding and remind audiences of the joy that comes from a well-told story. It's not too late for Disney to pivot back to its roots. The hope is that they will listen to the genuine concerns of fans who aren't just interested in criticizing for the sake of it, but who genuinely care about the quality and impact of Disney's storytelling. This is not just about profit margins. It's about preserving the legacy of a company that has the power to shape cultural narratives and bring people together. Disney's financial success is undeniable, but the real measure of their legacy lies in the stories they tell and their impact on the world. It's not just about making money. It's about creating narratives that resonate with audiences across generations and cultures. The heart of Disney's legacy has always been its ability to unite people through storytelling, to create a sense of wonder and joy that transcends individual differences. However, the recent controversies surrounding their movies, like Snow White, and the backlash faced by stars like Rachel Zegler highlight a growing concern. Many feel Disney is drifting away from its core mission of creating magical, inclusive stories. Instead, there seems to be a growing focus on catering to market trends and maximizing profits, sometimes at the expense of the very storytelling that made Disney a beloved institution. This shift in focus is concerning because movies have an extraordinary ability to bring people together. They serve as a universal language, capable of bridging gaps and fostering a shared experience among people of different backgrounds and opinions. Disney, once synonymous with this kind of inclusive entertainment, now seems to be at risk of losing that essence. When a company known for its unifying narratives begins to create content that fragments its audience, it inadvertently contributes to the broader cultural divide. The public debates and online vitriol around recent Disney projects reflect a deeper issue, a sense of disconnection between the company's current direction and the values it was built upon. The challenge for Disney is clear. Will they continue prioritizing profit over storytelling, or will they recognize the immense value in being a company that unites rather than divides? The choices they make now will shape their legacy for generations to come. The hope among fans is for a return to the Disney of old, a Disney that prioritized the magic of storytelling above all else. The company has a unique opportunity and responsibility to craft narratives that can bring people together, fostering understanding and reminding audiences of the joy that comes from a well-told story. While it's apparent that Disney isn't hurting for money, the question is whether they'll remember that their greatest success has always come from their ability to touch the hearts of audiences worldwide. The financial aspect is just one part of the equation. The real magic lies in creating stories that resonate, inspire, and unite. In this rapidly changing media landscape, Disney has the power to set a positive example, to show that even in a world driven by profits, the art of storytelling can and should remain at the forefront. It's about finding that balance between being a successful business and a cultural touchstone that people look to for inspiration and hope. In closing, Disney's future isn't just about financial success. It's about preserving and enhancing a legacy that has the power to shape cultural narratives. Let's hope they find their way back to that magic. What are your thoughts on this situation? Share them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. As always, good afternoon, evening, and night.